Okay. Okay. So testing is the process we are going to check whether the application is working as per the requirement or not. Yeah, according to their requirement. So in this process we are going to check actual result and expected result both are same or not. Okay, and in the other words we can say we are finding the defects. Okay, that is a testing. So we say what is testing? It's a testing is a process where we are going to find to check whether the application is working as per the client requirement or not. Okay, so what are the types of testing?
This for functional
Okay,
type of testing, the
okay.
dynamic testing, and dynamic and static testing.
Uh, these are the dynamic and static, these are the techniques. Okay, and we have not started this one, right?
Okay, we have manual.
Okay, you can say this manual and automation, but basic uh, types of the testing, these are the two types. Okay, basic have the two types of the testing. What are they?
Basic type of testing,
Yeah,
black box testing, and white box testing.
yes. Okay, they are the two types of testing, white box and black box testing. Okay, so what is meant by the white box testing?
White box testing is when you can see which one the clear box testing.
Hmm.
That's for the developers.
Okay, so this white box testing is nothing but the which open box testing you can say and structural testing, right? And
Yes,
white box testing, structural testing, and in this testing what we are going to do, those who has the knowledge of internal logic of code, yeah, those has the knowledge of internal logic of code that application, they can do the this type of testing with the knowledge of with the internal logic of code. We do the testing with internal logic of code. We know the internal logic of this coding. So with doing the testing, that tester is known as the white box tester. And generally the developers are involved in the white box testing. This is testing process. Okay, white box testing process means what we are going to do the test. We are going to check the internal logic of code. Okay, what is a black box testing?
black box testing is for testers.
Okay, so the testers are involved in the black box testing. So in the black box testing, what we are going to check? What we are going to test?
We are excuse me,
Yes. What we are going to test?
the black box testing.
Yeah. What is in the white box? Sorry, white.
System
No,
testing.
uh, black box testing. What we test
Yes.
in what black box testing? What we test in the black box testing?
On a black box testing, you should be testing the black box testing.
Hmm? What is black box testing? What is meant by the black box testing?
Uh, black box testing is for testing only.
Okay, so testers are involved in black box testing. Generally, the testers are involved in black box testing. So, in black box testing process means what we are going to test. What tester are going to test? What test in the black box? And then we are going to say this is black box. What they are going to test?
The functionalities.
Yes, correct. So we are going to check the functionality. Okay. So functionality checking, and generally the testers involved in the black box testing. Okay, so white box testing and black box testing, these are the some main part of the testing. So white box testing is known as also the open box testing or structural box testing. The white box testing process means the internal logic of code checking or testing. Okay, we are going to check the internal logic of coding test. Okay, and generally developers are involved in the white box testing. Okay, and unit testing is the part of the white box testing. And why black box testing means we are going to check the functionality of the application. It's known as a functional testing. So generally the testers are involved in the black box testings. Okay, it's clear. It's very important because as a tester the basic things we must have to know. Okay, so levels of testing. What are the levels of testings? First level is
Sanity.
no. I'm not talking about sanity, smoke, and everything because we not started it. We not completed it our SDLC models. So just we completed. We are just ask. Yeah.
The requirements.
Requirement. So take levels of the testings. What are the levels of the testings? White box testings. Levels.
Is the requirements.
Now my PPT. So I have explained that one.
There's a unit level.
Yeah.
Testing.
Unit testing. Then
Integration.
integration testing. Then
Then incremental.
system testing. That is missing. System testing. First is unit testing. Okay, then integrated testing. So we are going to check the two or more modules are integrated properly or not. Unit testing, we are going to test one module. Yeah, unit testing, integration testing, system testing, acceptance testing. Okay, so these are the levels are involved for the testers. Okay, and what is SDLC?
System. Software development life cycles.
Okay, so software development life cycle. So how you can explain what is SDLC? If someone asks the question in interview, so you know what is SDLC. So how you can explain?
What do you see?
Uh, if someone asks the question in interview, what is SDLC? Can you please explain the SDLC? What is SDLC and explain the SDLC?
SDLC is a software development life cycle.
Okay.
It's a consists of models,
Hmm.
and out of the models we have the waterfall.
Okay, these are the SDLC models, various SDLC models. So how you can explain? See, what if the interviewer asked you what is XDLC and explain the SDLC. So you can say SDLC stand for Software Development Life Cycle. So SDLC that follows the any software company or IT industry to develop their application. Their application, they are going to follow the any SDLC model, and they have the some several phases involved in SDLC. Okay, several phases are involved in the SDLC. First one is requirement gathering. Second one is analysis. Okay, requirement gathering, analysis, then designing. Okay, then coding, then testing, then implementation, okay, and technique and supports. Okay, some these are the phases are involved in the SDLC model. So by using this, any SDLC software industry work to develop the any software. Okay, so in software industry, if they want to develop the any software, so they follow the one SDLC, any SDLC which is suitable for that software or product. So there are the many SDLC models. So in SDLC having the some different phases: requirement analysis, then requirement analysis, coding, designing, coding, and implementation. I means testing. Okay, after the coding there is a testing, right? These are the some phases are involved in the SDLC model. So you have to explain like this way. And what are the SDLC models? Various SDLC models, that is waterfall model, V model, spiral model, incremental model, agile model, RAD model, V models, etc. These are the SDLC models. Okay. So as a tester, you must have to know what is SDLC, what are the different SDLCs. Okay. So how any doubts in SDLC and phases are involved in the SDLCs?
No, no.
Okay. So
So the B model.
V model, huh?
So on the B model, so
V,
because the B have two sides, like they have like a requirements
yeah. So the here in
and
the,
design
yeah,
and the bonus side.
yeah, every this is available in every, because this is the basic phase of the SDLC: analysis, designing, coding, testing. These four phases are the basic phase in the SDLC, any SDLC model. Okay, because to develop the any software, we undergo these phases. So, but in a V model, what is going to be happen? Developer and tester will do the work simultaneously. That is what here the verification and validation is going on. They are doing same thing. Okay, development, analysis, requirement gathering, analysis, designing, coding, testing. But simultaneously, the tester is also involved. That's why you can say the verification and validation. Okay, these are the basic phases. Got it? SDLC is a basic phases, that is analysis, requirement analysis, designing, coding, and testing. These are the four basic stages. Then every phases, SDLC models having the stages, they are different way that follows. Okay, based on this SDLC models, SDLC process. So we seen our the first SDLC model, that is what, waterfall, right?
Yes.
So please explain the waterfall model.
Waterfall model.
How the application or software is developed in the waterfall model.
Application to develop
Hmm.
from the business analyst, the BA,
Hmm.
from the BA and the BA.
Yeah, you can explain. Just relax. Okay, just relax. Uh, don't take any tension, and just relax.
Okay, the waterfall model is it's suitable for the small projects,
Yeah, this statement is correct.
and the development of waterfall model and the testing is a subsequential
Mhm.
by line by order by it's not parallel.
Yeah, in this model, the SDLC, that is what, in waterfall model, you can say this is the traditional model. In this model, yeah, and one phase get completed, then we are going to start in the next phase. Means requirement is completed, then we can go for the analysis, and then we go for the designing. We can't go directly to the, we can't jump to one to other phases. So sequentially we need to go sequentially. One phase is completed, then we go for the next stage. Okay, so requirement, then whatever that require, yeah, analysis, designing, coding, one by one we need to go, and that is traditional model waterfall. And if there is any bug is found, so we need to repeat the entire cycle. Okay, and it's going to become a very costly. So that's why the industry are nowadays not use the waterfall model, but waterfall model is suitable for where the requirement are fixed. When we have the fixed kind of the requirement, okay, there is a no changes are required later. So at a fixed requirement we can go for the waterfall model, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you have to study, boss. Do study. Okay, so let's start our session. Okay, so here types of testing, okay, you can see software testing, that is structural white box or functional or black box testing. Okay, so just review that one once again and you will get understand everything. Okay, it's a very simple language I have written here. Okay, these are the SDLC process. Okay, that stages are involved: requirement analysis, designing, coding, and testing. Okay, that more four phases are very important any software development life cycle. Okay, so in analysis we are requirement gathering, business analysts gather the requirement, then how the project is come to the software industry we have already explained, and development is how it's work and testing team is how it's work also explained. Okay, and then what are the SDLC model we started, right? So SDLC is the software development life cycle. Okay, that we already explained, and that follow IT industry. These are the models. Okay, so for that we as a software engineer or software tester, we must have to know the idea about these models. Okay, we must have to know. So in the interview, as a fresher level interview, they definitely ask what is SDLC and what are the different SDLC models, right? And definitely they will ask. So we seen the waterfall model, and we know this is the traditional model, and in this model, so once we complete the first, then we go for the next stage. Okay, so it's a sequential matter, sequential model. So one activities can't be stated until the previous activity is complete. Once first complete the first activity, then go for the next activity. The testing cannot start it until the previous phases are finished, right?
Yes.
So if any defect found, go back to the originating phase and start traversing sequentially all over again. So that is what the things we need to do. Okay, and this is suitable for the small project where the requirement are clearly defined or mentioned. Okay, and what happen, the requirement are get changed, we need to follow the entire stage again and again. Okay, so waterfall model, complete requirement is going to be happen, then this is sign up, then go for the designing. Okay, then after designing we can go here. Okay, so complete that one, then implementation means coding. Okay, like this is what waterfall model. And in disadvantages, what is the disadvantage in real life? Customer requirements are get changed periodically, so that's what this is disadvantage. It's not feasible, and phases are not run concurrently. We are not going to run concurrently, one by one we need to run. Advantage, what project is under the control because we have the small line of controls, small duration. Okay, because everything documentation are mentioned. Okay, try the changes is easy, early identification of slippage is also available, right? Okay, okay, so see here, waterfall model. Okay, so this notes I am going to share with you, don't worry. Okay, SDLC is procedure to develop the software, right? Waterfall model, you can see here waterfall model. Okay, it's a sequential, it's a traditional model, sequential design process. Okay, and it is seen as steadily. Okay, like waterfall, it's look like as a waterfall. Requirement collection, feasibility study or analysis, designing, coding. Coding means programming, then testing, and then installation maintenance. Okay, requirement collection means that is done by the business analyst and product analyst, gathering the requirement, translate into the business language, that is what BRS. Okay, let us consider the example of banking software. Okay, that is requirement is going to take the requirement, then we have the bank opening, saving account, current account, something, take the requirement, then that is converted into business logic, that is business language, that is BRS. Feasibility study we have to done. Okay, that is done by the software team, consist of the project manager, business analyst, architecture, finance, HR. Developers are not tester, but not the testers. Okay, testers are not involved to study the feasibility. Okay, architect, who will design the architect? The okay, so we'll decide here the person who tells whether the product can be developed, and if developed, then which technology is best suitable to develop it. Okay, so it design the architect and they decide how we are going to develop that one, whether this software is going to develop or not. Okay, if develop, then which kind of the technology required. Okay, here we check the technical feasibility, financial feasibility, and resource feasibility. Then in the design phase, okay, the requirement collections we done here. Then after completion of the requirement, then we have the designing phase. Okay, so there are the two types of designing. Here is the high level designing as well as low level designing. Okay, so high level designing is what architecture of the software product to be developed, and it's done by the architecture and senior developers. You know the solution architecture. Okay, solution architecture, it's having the 15-year plus experience as a project manager. Okay, or any technical person who's come from the any technical background who's having the 15-year plus experience or 20 years plus experience. Okay, so he's become a solution architect and he's going to design the high level design. Low level design, that is involve the senior developer, and it's describe how each and every feature in the product should work and how every component should work. Here only design will be there and not the code. Okay, so high level design means entire application architecture of the application, entire architecture of the application. Low level design is modules. Okay, what are the features are going to define in this here. Okay, so high level designing, the solution architecture are involved to complete design of the application. In low level design means the senior members are involved to design the what are the features and something. Okay, right. So here after this one, uh, for example, building the house, you know the architecture is design this entire building structure. Architecture will design first, right? And you know the some building developers are going to develop the some features of the buildings, right? Like this way. So coding and programming is done by the developer, senior and junior developer or freshers. Okay, in the coding means implementation we can say. Okay, coding is done, then testing is done by the test engineer, right? Then installation done by the installation engineer. Then maintenance we are going to provide there. Okay, okay. So like this way, these phases are involved in software testing. Sorry, waterfall model. So here in the waterfall model, one phase is completed, then next phase is start. Then he's completed, then next is start. Okay, we can't jump from one to another. Okay, so what is the drawbacks of this model? We can't backtracking is not possible. Okay, that is cannot back and change the requirement. Okay, once we design stage, right? Thus requirement are freeze the once the design of the software product is started. If the requirement are not freeze, then we are not going to start the designing. Okay, right? When the requirement is get freeze, then we can start the next stage, otherwise not. Okay, so requirement get freeze, then business analyst and this team is going to be complete work, their work is completed, right? requirement work is completed, then designing is going to start. Okay, this team is going to design, then designing and requirement, when design is completed, then coding will start. Okay, and then again we are not going to collect the requirement and we are not going to design the application. Okay, coding is started, so to do the coding only, then coding is get completed, then go do for the testing. Okay, once we get any defects, so we need to follow the everything. So that's why this is a disadvantage. So advantage, what advantage of the requirement freezing, we get the stable product because there is no change in the design and code, right? Once the requirement get changed, then we need to change everywhere in designing part as well as in coding part. Okay, so in the waterfall model the requirement are freeze, so that is when advantage, right? But in the real time the customer requirements are get changed day by day, so that is not suitable for them. Okay, so in the drawback of this requirement freezing, so customer may not be satisfied in the changes if required is not incorporated in the product. Okay, the end result waterfall model is not feasible in product, right? So requirement it gets changed by the customer and customer want to change that one. So uh, we need to do some. It will take some more time. So that is what one drawback here. Okay. So advantages of waterfall model is what requirement do not change or nor or are going to allow to change the requirement and not is going to again do the for designing and coding. Okay, that is what is stable. Everything is stable. We get the stable product. Fixed requirement, we need to create a one mobile software and we have to some fixed requirement. Okay, not going to be changed. So that time go for the waterfall model. So what is the application is using the developing the simple application for a short term project. Okay, whenever the requirement are freeze will not be changed later. So for example, waterfall model can be used in developing the simple calculator as a function of the addition subtraction like this way. Okay, and we've seen some calculator, interest calculator, right? In the interest calculator, so the requirement are freeze. Okay, so we can, this is the waterfall model, but the interest rate are going to be changed by 1 year 2 year, so that is also the requirement get changed, so do not use a waterfall, right? So here the simple calculator, that is requirement are freeze. The sign, what is the sign function, something addition is doing, subtraction is doing the same. Okay, it's not going to be changed. Means today you are learn 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Tomorrow you are not going to learn 2 plus 2 is equal to 5. Am I right? Yeah, so 2 plus 2 is equal to 4 before 4 and after 4. But 2 plus 2, tomorrow you are not going to learn either 2 plus 2 is a 5. Okay, so requirement get change here. But the simple calculator means requirement not change. That is a fix. So this is what example. Simple calculator is the example for the waterfall model. Okay. Yes. Now this is about the waterfall model. Okay. And next one is what, incremental model. Okay, so now we've seen that whenever the requirement it get changed, we need to do the same thing again, requirement gathering and everything. So it will take the again 1 year or 2 year. So as a 1 year of software. Okay, if they declare as a 1 year of the software, in 1 year you will deliver the product. So through 2 to 3 months for the requirement gathering, 2 to 3 months for designing, 2 to 3 months for coding, and 2 to 3 months for the testing. So that is entire 1 year is completed. Then after that, the customer get the product. And what will happen? The customer are requirement are get changed. So it again the we need to follow the same test, and it will take the 1 year process also. Okay, so that is what it's not suitable for requirement changing, right? Waterfall model. So now we insert having the some different model that is known as incremental model. Okay, so the concept is involved here in the incremental model means what, you can change the requirement and the completely cycle follows the complete cycle, and you will get the one build, means a piece of software at the end. And again we can add the requirement and we need to follow the same step, again we will get the build, means software. Okay, and this cycle, okay, you can say the waterfall is the implementation of the waterfall. Waterfall is the linear model. Okay, and incremental is the implementation of the waterfall. Means we can say it's a multi waterfall cycle. Okay, you can say the multi waterfall, and in waterfall only we are following a single cycle, right? It's a single cycle. Okay, but in incremental model it's a, we can say the multiple waterfall. Okay, multi waterfall. Okay, we can say the multi waterfalls. So multiple development cycle take place here, making the life cycle. Okay, so this is one cycle, this is two, this is three, and this is nth number of cycle, and then you can say this is life cycle entire. Okay, this is incremental model. So this is one waterfall, this is another waterfall, this is third waterfall. Okay, so this is one waterfall, this is another waterfall, two second, and this is third and fourth up to the nth, and up to the nth number of this one you will get the last product as per the requirement. Okay, that is end. So it's an incremental model, means like a waterfall we are following this entire cycle for one duration of time, so we'll get a product and requirement are get changed and adding the some features. So again we are following the same linear model, waterfall cycle. Okay, so each cycle is known as iteration, or you can say the cycle. Okay, and iteration that undergoes analysis, designing, coding, testing phase. Okay, is go undergoes all these phases. That is the main phases. Analysis means requirement gathering. Okay, requirement analysis, designing, coding, and testing. Okay, so each iteration follows the four phases. So multiple development cycle takes place here. Okay, making the life cycle multi waterfall cycle. So cycles are divided up into the small and more easily managed iteration. Okay, earlier we seen that, so we go in waterfall model the four stages are involved or any stages, and it will take the 1 or 2 year of cycle time to complete these stages, right? After the end of this testing we'll get the product, means after the 1 or 2 years the requirement it get changed in the waterfall, again we need to wait for the 1 and 2 years. Okay, 1 or 2 years we need to wait for them. But in the incremental model, so this disadvantage get resolved. So this is we can, the cycles are divided into the some small time. So this is 2 month, this is 2 month, this is 2 months. Okay, so in the short period of time you are divided, so it's required 2 months for to complete the entire cycle. So each cycle or iteration undergoes all these phases. Okay, so you can do the analysis, requirement analysis, designing, coding, testing. Again second one, two of times we can go for the analysis, designing, coding, testing, and this one. Okay, can you please mute? I'm disturbing. Can you please mute? Oh, something I'm getting the sound. uh, Someone is speaking with someone, right? Okay, so this is what entire one cycle, and this is second to third and so on. That is multi waterfall layers, but it's a short time of duration. Okay, so each iteration passes through the requirement, designing, implementation, and testing phases, all these phases. So now how? So working version of software is produced during the first iteration. Okay, once the first iteration is completed, then we will get the working software. That is known as the build. Okay, so you have working software early on during the software life cycle. Subsequent iteration build on the initial software that produced during the first iteration. Okay, so in the first iteration we'll get the working software. Okay, working software, right? Then we can add some features, and again we can do analysis, designing, coding, testing. We will get the second one. Okay, so this is layers are creating again and again. So this is known as the iterations, and our each iteration undergoes passes through the all this requirement analysis, designing, all these pages. Okay, so this is incremental model is useful. Okay, why? Because yeah, the requirement are get changed, then again we need to go for the four stages but in the short time of duration. Okay, that known as the iterations. Okay, so what is the advantages here? The It's generate quickly working software early during the life cycle. Okay, so we have the something nth number of life cycle. Okay, suppose 50 the life cycle iterations we are going to use to develop our entire application using the incremental model. But in the first iteration we'll get the working software. Okay, in the n1 means first iteration we will get the working software. So if you get the working software, the requirement are going to change, and requirement you need to add our features, so easily can add the features. Okay, so up to the last in the last iteration you will get the working exact software that the customer required. Okay, so more flexible, less costly to change the scope and requirement, easily easier to test and debug the during the small iteration. It's easy to test and easier to manage the risk because risky pieces are identified and handled during its iteration. Because you are using the iteration, so risk can be easily handled. Okay, if you find any defect or anything, so we can easily handle there, easily identified and easily handle. And each iteration is the easy manage milestone, so we can easily manage that. Okay, so this is about incremental model. So how what you understand about the incremental model?
Incremental model is more like you can apply it, but you have to apply it like it's almost like a white box. But white box you have to go the waterfall, but waterfall you have to go all the way back. But incremental model, as soon as you finish one phase, you have to test it. Then from there you move forward.
Yeah, that is waterfall.
Now, waterfall you have to go back if in case you have a bug. You have to go all the way back to
All these phases,
phase.
and that is fixed
But then
phases.
with the
Yeah, but in incremental model,
incremental models, every model goes in a small phase.
yeah, small phases, iteration that is divided into the iteration, and we can say this is multi waterfall cycle. Okay, that is one cycle. This is one cycle, and this is each cycle is known as waterfall. This is one cycle, na. It's a one cycle is like a waterfall model. Okay, in waterfall model, analysis, designing, coding, testing. Okay, this is one waterfall, this is another waterfall. So incremental model is known with the multiple waterfall cycles. Okay, but each cycle will get the soft working softwares. If there are any changes, so particular iteration we can do the changes, we not to go here and there. Okay, because we got to hear the product, and if the changes is required, then we can do in the next iteration. Okay, next iteration, if you have the changes in do, then it go to the next iteration, no need to go to back here. Okay, so this is about incremental model, so multi waterfall cycles. Okay, so next one is also the industry not using the incremental. Okay, next is a prototype model. So prototype means what? If you want to, the customer want to develop the any application, for example, e-commerce domain. So he gives the requirement to the business analyst or service-based company, and then company based on the his requirement, the company is going to develop the one demo, or you can say the one prototype for that model. Okay, as per the understanding of the customer requirement, they are going to develop the one demo product, means sample product, I can say the prototype. You understand the prototype
Yes.
means a demo, demo product,
Yeah.
sample.
For the company making a demo of
Yeah, demo of that working, but that demo will be work, but demo will be work. Okay, just like a look, it's look like a working demo, but it's not a original. It's
it's
not
like
an
alpha and beta and alpha, right?
yes. No. I'm not talking about the testing here. Just prototype means one of the model. They are going to give the one model, okay, but not a original one. You can do the alpha and beta testing there. That is doesn't matter. But prototype. Okay, so in this model, if you the customer is come and customer asking about the to develop the e-commerce domain application. So uh, the service-based company they can directly create the demo project for them. Okay, so you can add the product here, then you can select and you can purchase, and this will be the like this one. So they are going to make a one prototype directly as per the understanding the requirement of the customer. Okay, and the customer needed to changes there, so the requirement get changed there. Okay, and at the last stage, and then requirement gets fixed, and then go for the actual implementation of the product. So this is happen in the prototype model. Okay, first of all they make the one prototype for them. So prototype model is a representation of the real life situation which can be evaluated the user. So prototype is developed based on the initial understanding of the requirement, customer requirement. So visible working prototype helps customer to define the requirement. So customer doesn't know the actual proper requirement, but the customer know the domain, their business, that is the e-commerce domain. So I want to create a e-commerce domain application, so he can ask there, then service-based company can develop directly prototype, okay, for them. So this is what working software, but not a real-time working software, for is just for the demo software. And according to this one, then customer can added the requirement, okay, added the requirement. Okay, added the requirement, added. Once the customer added all this requirement, then go for the actual implementation of this blueprint. Okay, after that, they are going to develop the actual software. This is just prototype. Okay, then they are going to develop the actual prototype. So this is the advantages of the all these models, right? We seen earlier the two model, waterfall and incremental, and this is the totally advantage. Uh, Advanced model, SDLC model, it's a prototype, because here the customers are come and they tell the requirements, and service-based company are going to develop the directly demo for them, that is known as the prototype. And once the prototype is developed, that model, so the customer can edit the requirement there, and once their customer are get freeze, and then they are going to create a actual implementation, actual coding. Okay, yeah, now you can see this diagram, you can easily understand one. See, we can first of all gather the requirements, means customer are uh, tells the requirement. Okay, so business analyst is going to gather everything the requirement. Once the requirement is gathered, so we go for the software designing. Okay, the developers are going to design one software, documentation and everything. Okay, according to this one, they build one prototypes. Okay, that prototype, then again the customer get evaluate that prototype. So what required, again the requirement is required or not, then something the features we needed, again some functionality we need to add, so that is customer get evaluate. So he can refine the requirements. No, right now I need this kind of requirement, now we need to add this feature, something login registration, we need to add the flash sale also there. Okay, happy hours, or we need to add something in the 5 hours, we are providing the discount, something sales are going on. Okay, so such type of requirement are need. Okay, so now again they are going to design that software, and that build a prototype as a working version. Okay, but as a demo, for demo purpose, it's not for the actually live. Okay, and again customer is evaluate, again this requirement is refined, again do this one again and again. And once the customer gets stop, okay, then once the customer evaluation gets stopped, now the customer is happy with this prototype. Okay, so customer is happy with this prototype, because the customer what is the stated, all the requirements are uh, uh, all the requirements are fulfilled by this prototype. Okay, and now the customers requirement are get stop here. Okay, now they don't have the any kind of requirement, so now the customer evaluation will get stopped. So once the customer's evaluation gets stopped, means the customer's requirement gets stopped, then the actual product development is going to work. So here the actual software designing gets start. Okay, so here designing documentation gets start, that is UI designing, database designing, architecture designing, UML designing, and then designing get completed, then go for the coding stage. Okay, in the coding stage, then actual developer coders are going to write the code. Okay, and after the once the coding is get completed, then the testing teams are involved to test the application. Once the testing is completed, then we are going to release the build, release the project product, and if the maintenance is required, then provide the maintenance, means support for that application. Okay, so you understand this prototype model? Yes. So this is when advantages in the prototype model. So customer get the prototype, build prototype.
How often do you have to use that process?
Sorry,
The project that you perform?
uh, sorry. Can you please tell once again, because I'm not getting voice clearly.
I said, how often you guys use the prototype?
How can?
How often?
Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Now,
I said, how often you guys use the prototype?
how okay with?
How often?
It's okay. Okay, you got it.
No, I got it. I said, how often you guys use the prototype?
So I'm not understanding. Can you just type in chat box? You can type in the chat box. Sometimes internet connections issue, so one word get and some the complete sentence is not. Please type in the chat box so that I can understand. Okay, yeah, how often do you we use? So yeah, that is used some industries. Okay, so we can use one time, two times. Okay,
Is it like based on the client requirement?
yeah, that is requirement. You know, when the customers requirement are,
It's expensive, but it's expensive.
yeah, so once the requirement are getting changed, so you know the customers are not having the proper requirement, so then that time they go with this model. Customer only have the business knowledge, but they don't have the any features knowledge. Means customer have the banking, and one of the customer are need to develop the banking application, and they know only opening the account and something. Okay, but don't know the details of that this one. And customer is not sure, maybe I'm not going to add some other features like the other APIs like investment, stock market investment or something. Okay, that is he's not sure, so that time this model is suitable, because once he see the designing of this working model, okay, so that he can then he can understand I need to add some features again here. Okay, So for example, what you can give the one example for this one. We are just thinking that I want to uh, create one car. Okay, we are thinking. So you are just thinking I want to create a car. This is requirement. So what designer is going to do? So they are going to design the various cars. Okay, one green car, red car, and something having the features car. Okay, they will show you. That is known as build prototype. And now you can select the one car and customer get evaluate, means that you are selected one green color car, okay, or red color car, and he's thinking that one I need to add some backlight, or some tail lights and front light, and then mirror I need to add, or swoop and something you need to add. So that is evaluation the customer, and then requirement refine the requirement and again build a prototype. So as per the requirement customer that said, so the features are added into the car. Okay, then again the customer will get evaluate. No, no, I need this one. This seat please look like that one. Okay, so again he's going to do that one. Okay, once this gets stopped, and then we can do the actual car designing. Okay, then the requirement are fixed. Now we read such light and all this look and feel like this way. Then actual car designing could start like a softwares. Okay, so like the car we do the here software designing. So the customers are not uh, uh, fulfill about the customer, so that they can design prototype. Okay, they build a prototype, then he can view that one, so then then they can analyze, and then they can understand I need to add something features here. And if they do not, if you are not showing anything, so they are just in the paperwork. And if you show the some prototype or design model, so that he can tell you how the again customer how the requirement you can add there. Okay, so that's the build model is prototype model is work. Okay, so what is the advantages of this model? It can be used when the customers are not sure about what he want. Okay, sometimes the customer are not sure, but then what, when is going to be sure? After seeing the some demo, after seeing the some prototype. Okay, so then it can give the again requirement. So it's a faster way of finalizing the requirement. It's a faster way. So useful for new technology and domain. Okay, so because we are just designing, we are not go for the implementing. Means implementation means actual coding. When we go for the actual coding, once the requirements are get freeze, okay, the customer evaluation gets stopped, then we can go for the actual software designing and coding. So that is useful for the new technologies and new domains also. Any new domain, for example blockchain domain, the everyone knows the e-commerce concept. Okay, what we need to require in the e-commerce websites or application, everyone knows what are required in the banking knowledge domains. But something is new domains application, one of the customer having the new business idea, and that is a unique business idea, so that is not sure about the requirement. So that time this prototype model is will be work. Okay, so first of all he will define the some features. Okay, so the developer is going to develop that prototype, and again he understand that one I need to add this feature. Okay, so they can add. So once the after later at the end the prototype is get successfully completed, then the actual implementation, actual designing gets start. Okay, for the this is useful for the new technology and new domain, right? But for banking and e-commerce and healthcare, this all are the available nowadays. But the one of the customer having the, some new business plan and new business something, so that time that developer means service based company go for this prototype model. So the customer doesn't need to wait for the long time in the linear model or waterfall model. In linear model means incremental, or you can say the same thing. Waterfall model, okay, we need to wait for the longer time. Okay, so in waterfall model, suppose there is a cycle of 1 and 2 years, so 1 and 2 years are required to complete the all this life cycle, so that we can get at the end of the product. And in linear multi waterfall model, that is incremental model. Again it will take the some times to complete the all this iteration, so that we will get the model. So it's a very long time to get the product, but in the prototype easily, in the faster way to get the product. Okay, it's not to wait for the long time like linear and waterfall. So feedback from the customers is received periodically, and changes don't come at the last minute of surprise. Okay, so it is periodically you will get the feedback from the customer, right? So now you are here and your customer is get evaluated that prototype, and now everything is mentioned properly. Okay, now if you are doing here designing and coding, so here you will not get the your requirement. Okay, you will not get here requirements. Okay, that is not possible. Okay, whatever the requirement you need, so you do here the evaluation here, customer evaluation, then define the requirement and do here. Okay, at this stage there is no things to do here requirement. Okay, once it is built, prototype is completed and customer is happy with this prototype, then go for this actual designing and coding. Okay, because in the cycle means in customer evaluation, when the prototype is designed, the customer get evaluated periodically. So that is changes are not don't come at the last moment of the surprise time. Okay, so will not get any changes. We'll do this one, and at the last moment of the time the customer is saying no, I need this feature is here. That is not happen in here. Okay, in the prototype model will not happen, because whatever you want you have to define. Once you get define the prototype, you have to do the changes, then you can tell there. Okay, then customer reaction is improves the quality as well the success rate, right? The model which having the more customer reaction, so that means your quality rate is also good. Okay, so this everything is done in the agile process, and you are simply you need to say we are following the agile model. Okay, in our organization that following the agile, and I know about the agile process because every IT industry that work in the agile process. Okay, max industry that use the hybrid model and agile. Okay, so you need to simply say I am working with the agile, right? So what is the disadvantage for the prototype model? So it's expensive, right? Because the customer get evaluated, again we are going to do the build again prototype, we are going to build a prototype, again build a prototype. So it's time taking process. So when it's compared to the sequential model like waterfall model, okay, so it's expensive than waterfall model, right? Since it's being built out of the concept. Okay, it's being out of the concept, the most of the model presented in the early stage are not completed. Okay, sometimes the main advantage disadvantage for this prototype model, we propose the system, that is what prototype, we propose that one, but not exactly going to complete it at the end of the moment. Okay, we have proposed that we make the car, okay, which will having the speed of the 400 kilometer per hours, so 300 mile per hours, right? We are going to propose and we build a one prototype there, but in real time we fail to build that product. Okay, in real time we fail that one. Okay, so that's why in the prototype it's not necessary to create the like a product at the end what you state, right? So since it's being the built out of concept, the most of the model presented in the early stage are not completed. Okay, sometimes it's not completed also. So since prototype changes from time to time it to create a document for the system, because requirement are getting changed as a customer seen the prototype. So the customer get evaluate, then customer requirement are changed, the documentation also change. Okay, so lot of documentations are required. uh, Documentations are get changed. So there are many things that are remote change and added in the single update of the prototype, and documenting the each of them has difficult. So single movement are going to change, then added or remove or something is some update. So we need to maintain all this documentation, so that is it is going to become a difficult. So once requirement will get finalized, then adapting the changes and requirement and adding the new requirements are difficult. Okay, so if you freeze the requirement, okay, then it is going to very difficult to add a new requirement, right? So here the requirement are get freeze. Once the requirement are get freeze, then we can go for here the actual development process. And then if you are in the actual development process, so the new requirement is get when the new requirements had been come here, so it's very difficult to work on that one. Okay, so this is what disadvantage for this prototype model. Okay, so that is not work. Okay, so it's not work most of the time. Waterfall, spiral, or you can say then agile process, agile model work. Okay, but you should have to know this SDLC process. Okay, that models. So we seen up to here waterfall model. Okay, that is traditional model. It's one phase is completed, analysis requirement completed, then designing completed, then coding completed, then testing. Okay, and we cannot jump from one to another. Okay, we need to have the some stages. We complete the first step, then we go for the next stage, and this is suitable for the 1 to 2 year short term duration project. Okay, this is, and if the requirement is get changed, so we need to follow the entire stages once again. Okay, so that is difficult, and requirement are not going to change. And here the this waterfall model are suitable for when the requirement are freeze. Okay, then we see in the incremental model, right? So incremental model means that having the multiple waterfall cycle. Okay, waterfall model is also known as the linear sequential model. Okay, linear sequential model, waterfall, and the incremental model having the multiple waterfall cycle. So if they have the one cycle of the waterfall, then another next cycle for the waterfall. Okay, so that follow the all the stages and get the working build. Okay, in incremental model, at the first cycle you will get the working software, and then we can add the some requirement that we can get the again software. Okay, again we can add the requirement, again we will get, it will undergoes the all these phases. So that is known as the iteration. So one iteration and next iteration and nth number of iteration can be performed in incremental model. So we are going to increment the iteration. We are following the repeat stage, that is requirement analysis, designing, coding. So repetition you are going to perform, so that repetition is known as the incremental, that is iteration. Okay, and it's taking the so much time. Okay, because the nth number of iteration is when the requirement gets changed, the iteration gets changed. Okay, iteration is incremented, right? So each iteration having the analysis, designing, coding, testing phase. Okay, this is about incremental model. And now the prototype model come into the picture. Okay, so when the prototype model is come, then we can gather the requirement and we can define the prototype directly. We can so design the software and you can directly define the prototype. That is what demo to the customer. Then customer will get evaluate that demo working model of the software. Okay, and you can add the some features there. When you go for the prototype model, whenever the customers are not uh, whenever the customers are not sure about the requirement. Okay, he is not sure about the requirement. Okay, so that's why that time then he check that one the model and he can evaluate and he can add the feature. So once the everything the features is get added, and now the customer is saying that my all these features are get added and now it's okay, then we are actual go for the development actual. Then actual we are going to design the designing, then coding and testing, then we are going to actual. And while doing the actual development, coding and testing, so in that is difficult to manage the requirement. If the requirement has come, so we are not welcome this requirement. Okay, that is not possible. Okay, it's difficult to manage. So this is about the three model we have seen, right? So any question here? So you understand very clearly? Okay. So in the next class, we are going to see the other model, spiral model. Okay. And this is very interesting, RAD model and V model, and this then we start with the agile process. Okay. So this is very, 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 very important agile. Okay. So interview questions. Okay. So very, very important agile process. Okay, once our SDLC get completed, then we go for the testing. Okay, that is sanity testing, smoke testing, everything. So what are this concept we go? Once our testing concept is completed, then we go for the real-time manual testing. Okay, this concept, just these are the concept. Then we go for the real-time manual testing, and this we are going to again. I'm going to explain the agile Scrum process. What is Scrum framework? How it's work. Okay, so this is very, very important. So I'm going to explain this one, Scrum process. Okay, so this is our real-time process, how it's work in the real time in industry. Okay, and then go for after completion of this Scrum, then we go what is software engineering, the basic term as a tester, what is project management plan, and then customer satisfaction survey, requirement, how it's work, then software quality, that is assurance control, what is SQA and what is SQC. Okay, verification and validation. Then we go for the SDLC models with actual verification and validations. Then we see the STLC, very, very important, software testing life cycle. So then in the real time industry, what are the testing roles and responsibilities? So software test engineer is also known as the QA engineer. QA engineer, QA analyst, okay, QC analyst, all are same. Okay, all are same. And what are the responsibilities for each? We'll get to see. And after completion of that one, the essential for the testers. What is the essential? Some terminology. That is what is PMP, what is BRS, what is CRS. Okay, that we are going to see. After this completion of one, then we go for the real-time manual testing for the documentation. So project management plan, then purpose, then entry criteria, okay, exit criteria, main aspect. Okay, this is the documentation, what content the contents in the PMP documents, right? Then requirement specification, that is BRS, SRS, and what contents in there. Okay, that is contents of the table of content. You got TOC. So that is a sample thing. Then functional requirement specification. Then we'll see the three project IMS documentation explanation and bank project explanation and e-commerce domain project. And this is just documentation explanation. Then we go for once we complete this documentation, we are just understanding the domain of this project, and we start our STLC process. That is what software testing life cycle. Okay, this is what development life cycle. It's a testing life cycle. SDLC and STLC. SDLC is the software development life cycle. STLC is the software testing life cycle. Then actual testing is start from here. Okay, first of all, we need to analyze the requirement. Then we are going to prepare the test plan, test cases, document. Then how we are going to prepare that one. That everything I will explain with the e-commerce domain. Then requirement analysis what, testing matrix is what, RTM how the it's look like the RTM requirement traceability matrix. These are the all are interview questions. Okay, what is test plan definition? What is a container test plan? Scenarios. Then start. How to write the scenarios? Test scenarios. What is a document header file that is required scenarios? Then test cases. How we can write the test cases? Templates and that interview questions for Agile and Scrum. Okay, and we'll discuss some interview questions from here. That is very, very important. And what is error, what is bug, what is defect, what is failure. It is then boundary value analysis techniques. Okay, that is test case designing techniques, boundary value analysis. Okay, then define equivalence partitioning techniques. Then what is severity, what is priority. Okay, examples for the severity and priority. What is the status report, daily status report, weekly status report. Okay, how we can mail to weekly status report. Okay, that things we are going to see. Then a defect summary, how the document will look like. Okay, if had summary, retesting report, how we can, if the bug is there, then developer fix the bug, then again we are going to test the same thing, that is known as retesting. So how we can having the retesting report. Then in the testing process organization. Okay, so in interview how we can prepare that one, how we can say in my project we go for this one, this one, this one. Okay, this is interview question though. Then what is the difference between the test scenario and test case? Again I am going to explain there. Difference between the verification and validation, difference between the severity and priority, smoke versus sanity testing, difference between the smoke testing, sanity testing, what is bug life cycle or defect life cycle in software testing. That is very very important as a tester. This is important questions. Okay, then please explain the defect life cycle is someone I will ask you. And then to follow the agile scrum process we use the software that is known as Jira software. Okay, so Jira is project management tool. Okay, which agile process, agile SDLC process. Okay, Jira, the software is used for the agile project management. And we see here how we can uh, assign the task. Okay, then how we can manage, how we can report the defect here, so that practically we can see in this working with Jira. Okay, so the important things with the Jira we will see. And then the once the Jira is completed, that means our manual testing is completed. So Jira software get completed, then we can prepare the resume for manual testing. Okay, including the project. Then you can start giving the interviews, attending the interviews for the manual project. Okay, so what is required? Manual testing concept, Agile, Jira. Okay, that concept are required. And then we start the Java. Okay, automation testing. Once we manual testing is completed, then we'll start